What shall we use to fill the empty spaces where we used to talk? Hey, folks. Today, I would like to talk a little bit about kind of a niche topic. I'm entitling it Convincing Home Manager to Overwrite Existing Unmanaged Files. Often in Home Manager configuration, you'll want to set up configuration files. These configuration files, the configuration files the Home Manager writes, it actually writes into the Nix store, and then those files are linked into your home directory. So things like I don't know, this thing zshell-env, it jams a bunch of links into your home directory that that usually would be real files, like not symlinks, and you would manage yourself. But when they're managed by Home Manager, they're linked like that. So often to override some bit of configuration, like let's say for example, the set of applications available to this menu here, where you type things in and you type, I don't know, Steam, you can add arbitrary results to this search by adding .desktop files in various places, and they'll show up here once you get it right. So if all we want to do is extend some configuration, in my Home Manager configuration, I have this thing here, which I will say that a lot of my problems, the reason I need to do this is because of this dumb NVIDIA Optimus Prime graphics. It's just unreliable, or at least it doesn't work as well as it does under Windows. So in this case, the video editor that I use, if my this is just not even worth talking about, but when I run my system in NVIDIA sync mode, the video editor refuses to do any rendering of the timeline by default. So in order to make it render the fucking timeline, I have to run it under this NVIDIA offload thing, which tells. Sorry. I said it was under NVIDIA sync mode. What I meant was it was under offload mode. And when I'm in offload mode, I have to run this NVIDIA. I have to run Olive Editor under this NVIDIA offload thing, which is shell scripted, passive, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I just got to do some bullshit. So that works. But the more interesting part of that is this directive here, this xdg.desktopentries, that has an attribute set under it that is whatever. That actually has the downstream effect of adding a .desktop file. I suppose it's going to be called olive.desktop, almost certainly, because I named it Olive there. But we can see that there are a bunch of desktop files. I do that. But I think the ones that we want, or there is one that I want in here somewhere. And I think it might be this one. But what's happening here is it's showing me the Nix store path of these things. And what I actually want to show you is the symlink to it. So I think it's in here. CD. Yeah, olive.desktop. What is that doing there? I'm not sure. Why is that there? Anyway, the one that I care about is this one. Look at that. Katie lights up Olive when you. Oh my god, that's ridiculous. Okay. So this .desktop file, quote, well, it is a file, but the file gets written to the NixOS, and a symlink gets put inside of this directory. Bob's your uncle. We have all these other, let's see, yeah, some of these are the desktop files that are installed by all of the application, and they'll be stitched into the configuration globally by Nix itself. So now if I imagine if I go and look at, if I search for Olive, yeah. So I have the one that Olive put in itself, and then I have another one here that is the one that I want to use most of the time, and I have a shortcut to it there. So whenever I want to start Olive, I just push that. Oops, didn't want to do that. Okay, so yes, great, fantastic. I've gotten what I need. But there are other locations, like they're singletons. They're singleton locations. For instance, this config.autostart place. As far as I know, this is the only place where you can put files that are found at KDE startup time, such that when you log in, some GUI app will come up. And in my case, I use an application called Keybase, which is a messaging app, and for other stupid NVIDIA Optimus Prime sync crap, it doesn't work. This one doesn't work in sync mode. If the NVIDIA, if you're using only the NVIDIA GPU, it doesn't work out of the box. So you have to pass it a flag so that it will work. So if I go search for Keybase here, yeah, Keybase. So if I just try to open up Keybase, let me see if this actually works. I doubt it'll work. I think it's going to crash. I think it's actually, maybe it's actually running. Yeah, it crashed. So, yeah. So, the reason it's crashing, I mean, this is all in the weeds. No one cares about this, but I'm just going to just for completeness sake, start it that way. I am in sync mode. It dies because my GPU process, whatever. Man. So in order to get it to run, I have to do something like this. And when it's run like that, it runs. But so it's installed through Home Manager. When it's done like that, there is a file created inside of this config autostart that is named keybase.autostart.desktop. Now, right now, because I have fixed it, because I have done what I needed to do, this is a symlink, and it points into the NixOS, and it is a file managed by Home Manager. Before I did this, it was just a plain old file that had some contents in it that looked suspiciously like this, but it didn't have the disabled GPU sandbox flag. So what I had to do was convince Home Manager to overwrite that desktop file that was in my config.autostart directory. And out of the box, Home Manager is very careful about not overwriting files that it can't know that it's successfully managing. So the fact that I had a keybase autostart.desktop inside of config autostart, even if I put in this I put in this configuration here, this should have caused it to write out this symlink that's managed by Home Manager into the autostart keybase autostart desktop thing. But when I ran my rebuild, nothing changed. And as a matter of fact, it failed silently, which, when I say failed, I mean it didn't make this link. I mean, it didn't overwrite anything, which is good. If you didn't know it was going to, you might blow away something you didn't mean to. But in my case, I actually do want it to overwrite the file because I don't care what gets installed by the other thing. I can't put another file next to it because these are operations that are singletons. I don't want two keybases to start. I mean, I could. That would probably work. One would fail and one would not, but it's just ugly. So I want us to just overwrite the one that was already there. So there is an undocumented feature in this directive anyway, this xdg.configfile thing. Thank you to Tajing on RC for cluing me into its existence. It doesn't appear to be documented. If you say xdg.configfile, file name force equal true, well, it don't give a damn. It will just overwrite whatever you have on the file system that is not managed by Home Manager, and we'll overwrite it with a symlink. And F you, man. So that's exactly what I wanted to do. All right, well, that's really all I wanted to say. That was a long way to go for such a small option.